Hi, welcome to another video. In this, I'll be talking about strategy versus tactics and how one can develop versatile thinking. I'm Bharat Divyan. I'm the founder and CEO of Zutman Academy. This is a wonderful quote by Sun Tzu. Strategy without tactics is the slowest route to victory. Tactics without strategy is the noise before defeat. Take a moment to think about it, to ruminate about this particular saying. There's so much depth to it. But before that, we first need to understand what is strategy, what is tactic, what are the difference and similarities. So let's take a practical application. We have a chess position like this. What will help you here, strategy or tactics? How do you decide to go about? If black has to win this game, what should he do? Put a pin on that, we'll come back to it a little later. First, let's understand what strategy and tactic is. I think of topics in different dimensions to understand, similarities between differences and differences between similarities. So one of the things is the scope of this. Strategy is always something that's very broad. Tactic is something that's narrow and focused. It's kind of floodlight versus spotlight, right? This another dimension is a time frame. Strategy is usually long term. Tactic is short term. The purpose of strategy is to give you direction. The purpose of a tactic is to give you an action plan. The level of detail in strategy is always big picture, and the level of detail in tactic is actually very detailed, finer nitty gritties. Let's take examples of how this is applied. For example, in military, a strategy would be deciding securing key locations. A tactic is the order in which you would deploy troops to achieve that strategic objective. For example, you could say we would go with an air attack first, followed by ground troops. In business, a strategic decision would be to say we're going to be the top three players in an industry. The tactic would say, okay, we're going to be using competitive pricing, a freemium model, and focus on the middle income segment. That would be a tactic. In exam preparation, a strategic decision would be to say every single subject is important, and we're not just going to focus on, say, physics, chemistry, math, but everything. And therefore, a tactic would be deciding how you would utilize your time, saying 20% towards future exams and 80% towards the current exam, instead of doing all of it in one and then struggling at later points. In chess, a decision to say play d4 to ensure that you get a close game variation so that it plays to your strength of complex games would be a strategic decision. Looking for checkmate threats so that you can gain material would be a tactical way of achieving that particular goal. Now let's come back to our problem at hand. To realize that the square d1 is very, very important, kind of weak for white, would be a strategic analysis of the position, identifying d1 as a strategic square. But what do you do with that? To realize that a rook needs to go to d1, not the queen, is your application, your intelligence level. That's the definition of fluid intelligence. Because queen going there, for example, if queen goes to d1, king comes to f1, and then you don't have any counterplay after that. Queen takes queen, king takes queen, and then two bishops against a rook, most likely white will win. But how do you tactically implement that? By moving queen to a5. Queen to a5 ensures that you are threatening rook to d1 the very next move. And this is a tactical way of ensuring that your strategic analysis of d1 being weak, d1 is the square that you want to attack, d1 is the place where you want to place your rook. To tactically have a short-term plan to achieve that is queen a5. Now you could say, okay, queen a5, what's the big deal? I can move b3. And you won't realize that all I have to do is move queen a5 after that, attacking both rook and bishop, and ensuring that black is in a very strong position. Okay, how does one develop this ability to think tactically and think strategically? Just first understand that you don't have to be only one and not the other. Tactics and strategies are different dimensions of thinking. You would need both of them. Become aware of both before decision making. That is a very important point, right? Because you cannot just be focused only on tactics or only on strategy. Remember Sun Tzu, right? You need both of them if you want to have the right kind of decision making. Find the balance and alignment between tactics and strategy, because end of the day, remember, tactics is short term and therefore should eventually lead you to the path of realizing and achieving your strategy. So follow this channel for more insightful videos on checkmate patterns, calculation, pattern recognition skills, and general meta level thinking about chess. Looking forward to seeing you in the next video. Thank you so much.